This episode of Boss Rush After Dark is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Boss Rush After Dark, the alternative podcast show for the Boss Rush Network. It's your boy, LeRon Dawkins, back at the house with my wonderful co-host. Going in backwards order, Pat Line. What's up, man?
Hello. I'm here.
And,
I'm a co-host. I'm number 2.
That's right. That's right. The number 3 spot is Corey Derrick.
Hello. Statistically above average, but make up for it with consistency and perseverance.
Let's move on to number 4.
And coming in last, but certainly not least, is Stephanie Klimoff. What's up?
Hey, well, I've always been called the closer, so.
Well, by the way, welcome back to After Dark. Like, we missed you.
I missed you guys too. It was been a long, tumultuous month of medical stuff, so.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's glad you're back. It's glad you're alive. It's glad nothing. You're not missing like appendages or anything like that. It's glad to have you back.
Yeah.
I'm missing my soul.
No one asked you, Corey.
I know.
How's everybody's Wednesday night going?
Right.
I don't remember.
It's Wednesday still.
We just wrapped a fun-filled episode of the Boss Rush podcast.
We did. LeRon talked an awful lot about Nintendo.
I did, yeah. Yeah. It seems to happen more and more, And it wasn't all
credit to where Nintendo was due.
Yeah, like I was just about to say, it wasn't bashing Nintendo like I normally have known to do on my own show, the Crossroads show. But yeah. But no, it was a fun-filled show. Like I feel if you guys aren't catching it, you guys are missing out. I understand, Boss Rush After Dark is the meaty portion of the network. We get it and stuff like that. But come to the other side. Here's being nerds, it's a good time,
Yep. That's us.
Yeah. Less nerds get our boners in other places.
Boner.
Speaking of boners, guys, let's talk about our bedtime activities. Let's talk about the things that we like to do in bed.
Sexual intercourse.
I'll leave the topics open or as closed as you guys want it.
Why are we not in bed right now?
I love bed.
We should be doing this episode in bed.
It's why I never have a green screen and I never blur this sucker out. Like, I love my bed.
It's made to, so something recently happened in there.
No, the bed's always. I will never get on a podcast with a disheveled bed. Never. I'm not that type of person.
Okay.
Besides, my mom might watch one of these days, and I do not want my phone ringing.
I'm sure you want your mom watching After Dark. That's so weird to think about.
She'll complain about the topics, but she'll complain about how the bed looks.
Hey, I'm 48 years old. At this point, my mom should know how I get down.
Getting down, all right. Oh man, good times. Good times. Bedtime activities. Well, half the time I stay up too late and my wife's already asleep, so I just don't go in there to wake them up because my son's in there too. Because we only have 2 bedrooms, so sometimes I just go lay on the couch and sleep out there.
Oh man,
it's a good time. Just watch TV with the volume up.
Well, so you don't hear your son screaming like when he wakes up in the middle of the night?
Yep, and then when he does, I just pretend I'm asleep and don't hear it. If it's that bad, she'll come get me.
Wow.
I'm a terrible father. It's fine.
I love my bed. My bed is a nice memory foam mattress, memory foam pillows, and it's both cool in the summer and hot during the winter, and I just like sleeping in it. If I could live in that bed, I would. Which has actually been a thing I've done in the past. When I used to live with my mom, I hardly ever walked out of my room. That bed was my sleeping quarters. It was where I sat to play video games. It is where I had all the meals that I ate at home was in that bed. And that bed had an absolute massive, crater.
Concave.
Yeah, and this was after, not even having the bed for, 2 years. It already, had this concave, and eventually, the springs were poking out of it, and...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You put that bad boy through his paces.
Oh, man, that, like I said, I lived in bed just because my room was small and I didn't have anywhere else to go because I didn't want to be wandering the house, and my mom pretty much dominated the living room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's the thing about our current bed. Okay. When we went bed shopping, I like a soft, almost like memory foam style bed. And my wife likes the really stiff beds. And
when you say stiff, like no give at all, because I like a firm bed, but I don't like feeling like.
I think he means firm. I like a nice firm bed.
I don't know. It kind of feels like a board.
Supports your back.
Feels like a board.
You're
in there.
Would you rather sleep on the floor than on your bed?
I would have to think about that.
Because I was about to say, if you choose the floor to your bed, then that means your bed is fucking hard.
It is, man. It kind of don't like it, but it's fine. It's I would rather have something soft and something that molds to my body and just almost like a, how sometimes people sleep with pillows in between their legs and kind of snuggling up to one, and I want a bed that does that on its own.
By the way, I'm really considering getting one of those body pillows.
Do it. Get one of those Mass Effect ones with Garrus on it. Poke a hole in the back. Nobody will know. It'll be fine.
Is that a thing? Is that really a thing?
Yes, they sell them on the BioWare store. Oh, they have Garrus, Liara,
Garrus Vicarian body.
What's her?
Pally? Why did I type the letter B and immediately finish body pillow?
Man,
it knows what you want.
Wow.
It knows what LeRon wants.
I'm a pillow hugger. I'm one that
I'm not really
I'm holding one.
I'm not really a pillow hugger person, but I've started to notice because I don't stretch enough after all these workouts I do that when I wake up in the morning my hips are not my friend. And it's because I'm a side sleeper. So it's because I'm compressed. Well, I don't know if it's compressing or elongating my hip flexors when I sleep because I'm a side sleeper and I sleep in the fetal position. But yeah, that's what's going on. And yeah, it's I get up in the morning and sometimes it's it's like those TikToks where it's you get up and your buddy immediately tells you how old you are.
Oh wow, I don't know if I'd want that.
Or you looked it up?
Yeah, I'm I don't know. Ugh.
People like him more for his personality, anyways.
Yeah.
Get it. Do it.
Okay. So the reason why I posed this this topic is because you guys know for a while I've been in therapy, and stuff like that. I just got through doing a 4-week-long group session thing about anxiety and shit. Anxiety and something else. Wow. Trust me, I did not forget the lessons because since completing that
depression.
No, I'm not depressed. No, I'm not crazy either. No,
personality.
It's mainly anxiety and something else. But the fact is, I've kind of moved on past it. Well, I am definitely. Well, I'm not HD, but I am definitely ADD. But yeah, I came out of that and actually a lot of my anxiety stuff has it's much more tolerable to the point where when situations happen, I don't freeze, or and stuff like that. But hold on a second. All of a sudden, my phone, which I thought was silent, is going freaking nuts. Hold on. There we go.
Hollywood.
Right. Yeah, but now we're in this part about sleep and in particular insomnia and stuff like that. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about things that you do in your bed that affects your sleep. Like for example, like if you're in your bed all the time, your body doesn't differentiate between like when it's supposed to be sleeping and when you're just laying down and resting and stuff like that. So when you actually go to sleep, your body never gets into this completely relaxed state and stuff like that.
Sleep hygiene. I hate that phrase, but it's sleep
hygiene.
Oh
yeah. They actually haven't thrown that at me yet, but I guarantee you, because my next session is tomorrow, they probably will throw that word at us, But yeah, but also, like some bad for you things. Like I'm one of those people where like I have to have like white noise, which white noise is no problem. They recommend white noise, but I'm one of those people where like it's easier for my brain to shut down if I have the TV on and I'm just like locked onto the television, so I'm droning out to it. That puts me to sleep, and stuff like that. But that's not a good thing. Because now in our hyper age of like super technology and stuff like that, everything emits blue light, which kills our circadian rhythm and stuff like that.
To be fair though, like I've actually found like in terms of white noise, there are channels on YouTube that like they only play the sound and then they turn the TV off. Like my TV turns off and like the screen turns off and it just plays the sound. And I usually fall asleep to like thunderstorms and stuff like that. And it's really nice. It actually helps me fall asleep faster.
Another thing that I do in bed is I fuck around with these things. And that's like getting this like blue light beamed directly into your brain.
Yeah. See, this is where kind of my answer to that question or topic is very boring, because going to pharmacy school, learned a lot, and we had a course or class on sleep medications, as you can imagine. So we had a psych professor join and talk to us, and he kept saying, and got a lot of snickers from the college kids, a bed should only be used for two things: sleep and
sleeping. Sex and sleeping.
And it just was pounded into my brain. He goes, you do not look at your phone in bed. You're not like he was telling us what to do, but he's like, if you look at your phone in bed, look at your laptop in bed, look at a TV before bed, you run the risk, not that it's going to happen, but you run the risk of fucking up your sleep. So I don't have a TV in my room. I mean, I might fool around with like looking at a couple social media before I go to bed, but like I just don't do that. And that's probably all I've really done in my bed are those two things. So
yeah,
you guys are so scared about that. I could fall asleep anytime.
Well, not all of us can be awesome like you, Pat.
Well, here's my problem with insomnia. And I'm ex-military. Like the one thing that we learn in the military is we learn that we can go to sleep anywhere. We can sleep on top of anything. We can sleep any place. We can sleep when the wrong thing is happening. Like that's something we learn in the military and stuff like that. The problem is though, is like my insomnia is like I have no problems going to sleep. I have problems staying asleep. But I've also noticed that I learned recently that some people like you wake up randomly in the night. Sometimes it might be a sudden wake up, and sometimes it's just like your eyes just pop open for no reason, stuff like that. I learned recently that when you hit the REM sleep, that's when you hit the REM and the deep sleep state parts of your sleep. That's when your body starts like recovering and healing itself and things like that. When you wake up suddenly, that means that like your body is so hardcore into like the repair cycle that it actually shocks your system, and that disrupts your sleep because your body, like there's something, so I'm gonna say damaged, even though that's not a good context of the word for what's going on. Your body is doing its best to like heal you up and repair you for the next day, as well as like completely recover your muscular and your nervous system and stuff like that. And usually these shock awakes is actually from the nervous system and not so much from like the muscular part of your body, your regeneration part of your body and stuff like that. So that's one of the other things I've been learning. But compound that with the fact where I have a very active brain. So like say I wake up in the middle of the night because I have to go to the bathroom, like it's usually a quest for me to get to the bathroom, do my thing, come back, get into bed, and immediately get my brain to shut back down before it starts ramping up. Because if my brain ramps up, I'm up for the next hour or so. And it sucks being up in the middle of the night and wanting to go back to sleep, but you can't.
Yeah. I had this really bad thing where I woke up in the middle of the night a lot. Like, and it would be like for like 2 weeks, I would wake up at like 2 or 2:30 and be up until 5 o'clock. Just,
Yeah.
you know, and not that I was like trying to be awake, you know, I mean, like no white noise, no TV, no anything before bed. And I was just like, why am I awake right now? Why am I awake? You know? And I would sit there and then like, I would close my eyes and then I would just get angry because I wasn't falling asleep, which made me even more awake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was bad for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that's honestly one of the situations where I just turn the TV back on, yeah, and you know, like I have a Plex server, and I have like every TV show, every movie, everything that like I love like on my Plex and stuff like that. There have been many nights that I've been up at 2 o'clock in the morning watching DuckTales because I couldn't go back to sleep. The old school DuckTales, the
David Tennant
stuff like that,
DuckTales?
huh?
Not the David Tennant DuckTales?
No, he said the older ones.
The David Tennant. Okay, so like I've noticed like nostalgic things help me fall asleep faster. Nostalgic things, so like stuff like from my younger days, or like days that like basically days that I have fond memories of and stuff like that. So like the old school, like the original series Star Trek, for example. Like I'll put that on, like and that's also because like when I was a kid, like in high school and stuff like that, like we had a channel that reran like old school Star Trek like at night when it was right around my bedtime. So like my parents would let me watch that because they knew I'd fall asleep. And so like it's just one of those things. It's learned behavior over like like it's wild to think that I've been an adult for 30 years. I've been an adult for 30 years. And it's behavior since beyond like being an adult. Just we just conditioned ourselves, and now here it is.
Yeah.
Some other bedtime activities I do, yes. Cell phones, tablets, yeah, I do that. I do read from time to time. Sometimes I'm in bed like with my earbuds on, just listening to music, But sometimes it's kind of sad and depressing because sometimes I'll do it in the absolute dark. Like I have the headphones on and I'm just in the absolute dark listening to music. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the one thing. No, my bed gets enough of that action too. Never mind. I was about to lie and say I don't do enough for the intimate stuff, and no, I do that.
Why are you lying to us, bro?
Whether it's my boyfriend or whether it's with myself, like that happens too in my bed.
Don't break the bed, LeRon.
I'm not breaking this bed.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, this bed's too new. This bed's too new. I've had this bed for a year now, I think. Yeah. My first king size bed. Oh, trust me, man. It's wonderful being a 6'3" guy and being able to starfish in your own bed and have every point of your body like still be in the bed. It's amazing.
That was one of the nice things about switching to a queen size bed, is to be able to have your feet on it again.
Yeah.
No, queen size bed. I was too long for it.
Yeah,
that's why you sleep diagonal now.
No.
Even
you can't sleep diagonal if someone else is in there.
Yeah, that too.
You know who sleeps diagonal?
In there.
Children. Dude, my son's sleeping in my bed right now. That's the only reason why I'm not recording After Dark in my bed, which is what I usually do. I walked in to go to the bathroom. The kid is sleeping with his head on the feet side of the bed. I like children just like they sleep in the weirdest positions.
No. That's something I used to love to do. I used to love sleeping opposite end of the bed. I used to love doing that.
My kids, like, they try to sleep with us sometimes, and like my daughter sleeps like starfish style. She just kind of like spread out, and my son he'll like be like a dead person laying there, but his feet will be like on top of you, like anywhere he can get them. Like I woke up one night because his foot was like on my neck it was wild. Kids, man, they just need to stop moving. They need to sleep in their own beds. That's my opinion. I got stuff to do, literally and figuratively.
I see what you did there.
Ah!
Do as in sex. Do
Any
it.
Sexy time.
any other bedtime activities?
Sexy time.
Oh, my bed is sometimes also my office. Like I've
I
built
can't
and
work
repaired.
in bed.
I've built and repaired computers on this bed.
Oh, I mean, I really don't do anything else in bed. Really, like I'll play video games. I'll lay there and watch TV, or So that's the thing about the Switch. You can take it with you.
Mm.
Stay up too
Play
late.
with my kitty in my bed. That's something I do. She loves hiding under the sheets and attacking my feet, and sometimes when I'm asleep at night, she'll take a toy, she'll climb up to the top of the headrest, and then she'll drop the toy on me.
See, I have a pet rule about the bed. The small dogs that live with us kind of get over on me on that one because but they're getting to the point where like they sleep in the bed with me and it makes me uncomfortable because now like they found the perfect way to sandwich me in the bed. Like they both sleep on top of the covers, so they're both on opposite sides of me, and I'm just like freaking like Eskimo pied into the bed. It's like I can't move, so the only thing I can do is like physically move them so I can get up or whatever, because like the bed's too high up. So if I knock one of the dogs off the bed, they're gonna get hurt.
It happens.
Yeah, I
Go
was
ahead,
gonna say my cat does the opposite. I'm a stomach sleeper, and so what she'll do is she'll go right between my legs and sleep there.
Aww.
Well, you know what? That's how I fall asleep. I don't know why. It's like falling asleep I cannot fall asleep on my back, but I'll usually end up on my back eventually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, like I will fall asleep, and she has a spot where it's like right between my legs, and she'll just collapse there. And so if I wake up and need to do something, she's there. It's usually a struggle to get out of bed because she's right there.
Yeah. I consciously try to fall asleep on my back, but when I wake up, I'm always on my stomach somewhere.
Which sucks because you can't control it, and then I have that crick in my neck. I'm like, why? Damn it, why?
Yeah, it's usually my back that hurts actually from that. Yeah, and then like you put your neck sideways, which I guess is also terrible for you when you lean your head sideways when you sleep. So,
well, you only live once. Live comfortably. Sleep on your stomach.
Good times.
Otherwise, if I'm sleeping on my back, I snore.
Yeah, there's always the risk of that.
Yeah, who here snores?
Steph knows.
I only snore when I'm absolutely tired. Like, I mean, according to my boyfriend, I snore all the time, but I'm like, you're a liar.
Steph had to get earplugs when I was in Boston.
Don't take it personally. I own earplugs.
You're not the first person to do that.
Hey, you gave me a heads up, which is very polite of you. So
I really
go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I was just gonna say I really am self-conscious about that because sometimes I don't snore at all, and other times my wife says I sound like a freight train running through the house, and I'm like, oh well.
Oh, cute.
And I think a lot of that was because of my weight, honestly. But we'll see now. I don't know.
Joy said he
playing in a while.
Strangling me one time when I was when we were sharing a room.
Strangled you?
Yeah. And then the next day he went and slept out with Josh.
Oh my God.
You should have said, don't threaten me with a good time.
Wow.
You know how the episode of Boss Rush podcast we just recorded, we were talking about man math and like how we justify our video game hours.
Yeah.
Like there's a question right now that's going around on Twitter. It says, what is white man math? And someone answered the Electoral College.
Oh.
They win the internet for this week.
To be fair, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
They win.
The electoral college is so stupid. It's stupid that we have a House and a Senate too. Like, I think that's stupid too, but that can be a topic for a different day.
I was about to say, like, well, you failed grade school and Schoolhouse Rock, didn't you?
No,
Checks and balances.
No, that's the three branches of the government, not the House and the Senate. I think we should have. We could talk about it a different day. I don't feel like ranting about it right now because it'll go on forever, and I don't want to.
Yeah,
I can tell you one section of the 3 stages that need to be more checks and more balances.
Parenting.
Judicial.
Oh, I thought that was a transition into the next topic.
Oh.
We could pretend like it is. Parenting.
Yeah.
Oh man. There's so we can go many ways with this.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you two take it away. Y'all are the parents.
But we have to have like a question to play off
yeah.
of,
I mean, we could have like literally several after darks based on parenting, just depending on what kind of question.
Yeah, this was the topic you wanted to talk about. Are you not prepared?
Yeah. No. Okay. I guess I do need to set up for this one. My bad. Okay, so
this guy.
So what I really want to do is I want you and Corey, you and Corey, Stephanie, to talk about like not so much the joys of parenting, but just the stuff that you thought you'd be doing as a parent, and like sometimes it wasn't always about that or things of that nature. Because I'm at a point where like I'm getting to a point where like if I don't have kids soon, I probably should just not have any. And I saw myself in certain ways as if I were to become a parent and things like that. As a matter of fact, like I had almost like I had we had an accident at one point and looked like I was about to be a dad. Like I was going to be a dad not at a young age. Like I was going to like 20. That's young enough though. But like one of those situations and stuff. Now I think about it in hindsight and stuff like that. And before anyone wonders, no abortions were had, whatnot. It was just a routine miscarriage, stuff like that. But yeah, like I think some days about like like if the kid had shown up and stuff, like what type of dad would I be and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's the setup. So talk to us and our audience about parenting and some of the things that you thought you were going to get out of it and some of the things that you got out of it that were an absolute surprise.
Oh boy. I can tell you one thing though. Like I wish that like there was a long time where I didn't even want kids, and like there's even that thought when my wife got pregnant the first time, I was like, oh shit, like freedom's over. But like once my daughter was born, I actually wish I would have had kids sooner, if that makes sense. Just because like I don't know, my parents had kids late, and like I start thinking about all the I like the things I think about now with my parents is like my parents are older, right? I mean, my dad's turning 72 next Friday, and like one of the thoughts is like I want my parents to see them, but also like the long term, I want them to see my kids graduate, right? Because like that's like I don't know. I'm lucky to still have both my parents at the age I'm at, right? Like it's at the point where like I don't know what I'm gonna do when they leave, but like I want them to spend time with my kids, and like I don't know, I just think about that a lot, and like I don't know how many good years I have left with my parents, let alone years that they're alive, right? Like my great grandma lived to be like 97 or something, but some of my other grandparents only lived to be in their 70s, and we're getting close to that now, right? Like my grandma died when my grandma on my mom's side, which was like really the only grandparent I really knew. She died when she was 78, but I mean, it was a freak surgery accident, whatever. But, I mean, my dad's 72 and my mom's 70 now. Right. And it's getting close to that. And I think about that a lot.
Yeah, my mom turned 70 next month, and neither me nor my sister have any kids.
Yeah.
And I think my mom, I thought my mom had kind of like given up the battle because like for a long while she was like it'd be nice to have a grandchild, and for a few years she shut up about it and came back up again recently.
So LeRon, this would be a question for you actually. Would you, I mean, I assume if you and your boyfriend stayed together, right? Like if you wanted a kid, would you use a surrogate or would you just adopt?
That's a conversation that we've kind of started having, but we haven't really gotten serious about it because like I think right now we're worried about when we're moving in together, which is probably going to be real soon, you know. But yeah, like my boyfriend is 12 years younger than me, so like I'm a Gen Xer and he's definitely a millennial. Um, and we're at this intersection because like I want to have kids, but the same, you know, and that's just me being a Gen Xer, you know. But him being a millennial, he's like, yeah, have you seen the fucking world? Like, yeah, I don't know if I want kids, you know, to be in this world, you know, right now with the way shit is and stuff like that. And I totally get it because there are days when I wake up and it's like, man, like I don't want to have a kid, and you know, like they inherited this fucked up ass earth that we're living in right now and stuff like that. You know, like we thought racism was getting better. It's not. It's gotten worse. It's just more undercover now. You know, and stuff like that. You know, things of that nature and stuff like that. But to answer your question, I think ultimately we probably will be looking at adoption and stuff like that because we're both level headed to the point where we know like there are kids out there that need like deserve a family and stuff like that. You know. So it, and in my honest opinion, even though I feel like, you know, us being a queer couple, like we probably have the hardest time fighting to get an adoption going, you know, and stuff like that. I feel like ultimately it would be the better way to run than I would have no problems having a surrogate, you know, so like that. I would have no problems. I don't think I'd convince my sister to be a surrogate for us, you know, because like she just doesn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
But I have no problem with surrogate. I haven't really talked to my boyfriend to see what his thoughts are because I think ultimately we're gonna be like who's gonna be the sperm donor. Who's gonna be the sperm donor and how's it being donated?
Speaking of bed activities, yeah, I'm
the bisexual guy in this relationship, so I'm setting up now.
Yeah, I'm just asking because a lot of Gen Xers and kind of before that are like concerned with like genial lineage, right? And you know, I need to have my genes passed on, and like that's why most men are like, I want a boy, so you know he can carry on the name and everything. And I was at the point where like it wasn't a big deal. Like when I was younger, I kind of thought about it because that's just the way we thought in the late 90s and early 2000s and you know mid 2000s. But like I don't know, it really didn't bother me. You know, and then my daughter was born, and I was like, okay, well, here's a girl, and like we actually thought the second my son was going to be a girl too, you know, and we only wanted 2 kids, and then he wasn't, but like it really didn't bother me, so I was just wondering if that was like a thing that you've thought about too.
There's a small part of me that would like to have my own natural kid, you know, just so you know, like I can guarantee because my dad died when I was 19, you know, and with looking at the fact that my sister probably does not want to have kids and stuff like that, you know, like if anyone's going to pass on like the name from this part of the family, it would be me, you know, stuff like that. So there's a part of me there is a part of me that wants that, but at the same time, you know, like if we adopt, you know, and if we adopt a kid at a certain age and stuff like that, you know, at a certain age, you know, like if they're too young to even recognize like their original name that they were birthed with and stuff like that, yeah, that kid would definitely like, you know, like have one of our last names because we had the conversation about what are we doing about the last names.
Yeah,
we had that conversation. I was like, you know what, like Dawkins is a very distinguished last name, like you should be proud to have that name. That conversation went completely opposite of what I thought it was going to be. but I love my last name. Like I trace the genealogy of my last name and everything. So I love my last name and stuff like that. I understand, being a person of color, and stuff like that. Like a name like mine, that definitely means that we borrowed it from like the slave owners that like owned us when we got emancipated.
Yeah. Yeah. Dawkins isn't a very African name.
Not exactly.
Not to sound racist or anything, but
but like I'm glad it's a Dawkins, and this is not to say anything against people that have these last names. I'm glad it's a Dawkins, not a Smith, a Jackson, a Jones, or something.
Oh yeah. Then your lineage was like, we came over on a boat sometime.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And that's not saying anything because my dad's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, there's Jacksons in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they're like I'm glad you asked that question because like I said, I think about like what should I do? Like like my mom's asking for grandchildren and stuff like that. She's turning 70. This is a woman that's been living with diabetes, since she was a preteen and stuff like that. And the fact that she's lived to 70 years old with that condition is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And still has both her eyes, like all of her digits, has never had to worry about losing a foot, or whatnot and stuff like that, I mean, she worries about it because she's diabetic, but like she's never had any danger to where like the doctor's going to like, we got to take your foot, stuff like that, because that's one of the things like diabetics, their lower extremities are always the first thing that, like goes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so there are days when I think, and sometimes I wonder if it's just being selfish, because like everybody should have kids when they're ready, if they're planning for kids, everyone should have kids when they're ready, we get it though, like grown married adults, have super happy adult fun time. I borrowed that phrase, by the way. and a bundle of joy shows up and stuff like that, like it's not necessarily planned, but like at the same time, like I'm pretty sure like like all those kids are loved, for the most part, so not saying anything bad about like parents that like have kids like out of wedlock or something like that. I am not that person. I'm not Victorian enough to slut shame anyone that has a kid out of wedlock and stuff like that, because technically I might have a kid out of wedlock, because I'm just like, do I give my mom what she wants?
Yeah.
One of those situations, but I would definitely be the don't tell mom dad, because me and my kid, whether it's a boy or a girl, we'd be getting some type of fuckery. We definitely would. And it'd be like, listen, like when we walk back in the house, act like all we did was go to the library today.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is you're going to be the fun parent.
I'm going to try my fucking damnedest. Which is crazy because I don't think I'm a fun adult. But I feel like having a child would be the extension that I need to just be a fucking like mischievous goofball.
It's fair.
And chances are I'll probably be living vicariously through my child. Like be like, hey, let's go skydiving. Like really? Jeez. Like yeah, let's go skydiving. Yeah, like we'll do a tandem. Like I'll be strapped to your back. Let's just jump out of a plane. Let's cliff jump.
Cliff jump. Jeez.
Let's rent a car and go to the racetrack.
I'm not sure stunts like that are kid friendly.
LeRon wants a kid, so
that's
that
why
when
the
he
adult,
dies,
that's
he
why the
doesn't die
adults here.
alone.
That's why the adults here that signs the waiver.
Jeez.
Come on, Corey, come on. You're telling me you're not waiting for those moments where you can tell your son or your daughter, hey, don't tell mom about this.
Oh, I've already done that. It wasn't for skydiving.
Your daughter's probably a snitch. She doesn't realize she's snitching. She's like, do you know what we did today?
No, I was. So when I got home from work today, I actually had a moment like that today, and like, I got home and I was eating dinner, and my family had already eaten dinner, and they went outside to play, and I was listening to a podcast, and he yelled, one of the hosts yelled "fuck" or whatever, and my daughter walked in the door as soon as he yelled it. She's like, She's like, Daddy, that's a bad word. And I'm like, don't tell Mom. So
As a mother, I slightly resent that.
you're not my wife, so
True.
I'd be scared.
Well, Stephanie, you're part Asian, so like how often does a tiger mommy come out?
A lot.
She's that fast.
A lot.
Is he getting good grades in math and science?
He's naturally good at math and science.
Oh, okay. So that's an ass beating he hasn't had to get yet.
He hasn't needed it yet. He's just, I'm not even trying to like make it up, but his favorite subjects are math and science, and he's fucking brilliant at it. And it's He brought home a paper drawing of atoms today. He drew atoms. He's like, look, Mommy, science.
I forget what grade is he in? What grade is he in now?
Second grade.
Second grade. That's what I thought. Okay.
He's like, look, atoms, Mommy. So yeah, it's half Asian. His father is Russian, like pretty much old school Russian, kinda. But anyway, I mean, I technically got pregnant kind of as a. Hope he never listens to this as a whoopsie. I never wanted to have children. I wanted to be one of those selfish married adults that get to live my life freely and do whatever I want and not deal with ungrateful children. That's kind of the pessimistic view I had of kids back in the day.
Well, let me ask you this, because like the modern woman, like, like they're actually trying to career and like livelihood first before kids and stuff like that. Do you feel like you may have been one of those people, or do you
Absolutely,
feel like,
but that's because I didn't think that I could achieve both. I was just selfish. I'm not saying all adults that choose not to have children are selfish. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. But for me, I feel like most people had the idea wrong. And my son was the best thing that's ever happened to me, despite being an oopsie, because I have proven, despite all the hardships, that I can be a career woman. I can still play video games and do whatever the F I want and have a kid. Maybe not to the extent as what I like to. I can't just up and fly to Europe and go on a vacation whenever I feel like it. But having my son has taught me to be not selfish. I give and would do anything for this kid. I think in the beginning, I really overthought about what type of parent I should be. As soon as I stopped trying to figure that out and just went with my gut, I am embracing and enjoying parenthood a lot better. I also am trying to balance the tiger mom in me versus the, I guess, Western American parenting. It's not really working out so well for me because I am tiger mom to my son. Now, I don't beat him with anything. I do jokingly chase him around the house with a bamboo stick, but I don't actually do any corporal punishment. Knock on wood, honestly, it's because he's never did anything to cause it. But I am very strict. When I raise my voice, he knows I mean business. I'm big on respect, the way you talk to people, the way you treat people. And I follow up with my consequences. I restrict what he wants. But what the problem it causes, I hate the majority of children out there because they don't have the tiger mom sensibilities. So when I see primarily kids talking back to their parents, I think that's like a big difference. Kids telling their parents, "You're not the boss of me," or demanding that them, like a kid demanded their parents' cell phone so they could play games on it because their tablet died. My soul wanted to burst out of my chest and slap them into next week. I struggle with that. I'm sorry I turned into a rant about how much I hate Western parenting, but I struggle.
No. I'm kind of glad you mentioned that real fast because yeah, like I feel like I'd be one of those parents that I'm not going to bend the knee because like the kid's having a tantrum, but I also understand child psychology to a certain extent. Yeah, kids don't understand why they're upset sometimes, but at the same time, I feel like the worst things you can do is like, okay, if they're having the moment they start having a tantrum, You know, like that's the moment that's when you do not cave. Like, you know, after it gets to a point where like they're starting to have convulsions because they haven't been able to calm themselves down, that's when you kind of do something about it, you know. But
Yeah.
I think parents are too like I think a lot of parents now it are just to the point where, you know, like it's like they want the kid to shut up as quickly as possible,
Mhm.
and that's kind of a bad thing because that's how we wind up with the Brock Turners out there, you know, like we'll like, you know, like take advantage of somebody that's passed out, you know, situations like that, or dudes that can't handle their feelings when they get rejected, so they start going and shooting up colleges and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I know I just mentioned like guys because I know like females can do some really brass ass behavior, you know, because like they just didn't have like the molding and sculpting by their parents and stuff like that. But you know, I'm just saying like I feel like parents deliver the children that they thought they were better than, you know.
Right.
Like you wind up with you wind up with stupid ass kids that, you know, for all intents and purposes should have been a blowjob.
Yeah.
Parents should have swallowed them.
It's funny you mentioned that too, LeRon, because, you know, when you have these conversations and potentially make that decision about being a parent, a lot of, I think, of the psychology of being a new parent is how am I going to be is my parenting going to be similar or different than how my parents raised me?
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, that is true because like a lot of people's the way people parent their current children is based on some generational trauma that they had from their parents, you know. Like I know and I'm actually one of those black people too. Like I tell myself I'm not going to raise my kids the same way like my parents raised me and my sister and stuff like that. You know, things like that. Not saying my parents are abusive and stuff like that, but you know, like I was the firstborn, and technically I was the only child for 12 years until my sister came around. So you know, like I was the first experiment or the first run, you know, for my parents at, you know, raising a child and stuff like that.
First edition.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because yeah, my sister did see my strict parents, but they were nowhere near as strict with her as they were with me. And, you know, like we can say, oh, that's because you were a boy and she was a girl. Nah, trust me. Like there's some shit my sister was doing, you know, when I was 12 years old that I couldn't even like imagine trying to do. Like the thought would be in my head, my parents would already have whipped my ass for it.
yeah, I didn't want to, like, a lot of people, like, I'm not going to raise my kid the way my parents raised me or something. I'm trying to balance both because as much as I definitely had some generational trauma from the Asian side, I actually do believe a lot of their philosophies are good. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
balance both of what I would call the Western or more American parenting is showing that you love your kids, telling your kids you love them, and not telling them you wish they were never born. Gee, I wonder who has heard that.
Okay, wow, yeah.
But on the Asian side, you know, I am big on respect. No kid of mine is going to be talking back to me, or else they're going to suffer some dire consequences. I have no problem, you know, whipping out discipline. Discipline is huge for me. But at the same time, I try to be reasonable, rational with my kid because I realize ultimately as a parent, my job is not to be your friend, but I'm also not going to be your dictator either. My role is to make sure that my kid is growing up with the tools to handle adult life so they can live life to their fullest and happiest and healthiest. Not that I'm saying I know the answers, but like that's my guardrail that I hope I can do.
Yeah,
So
I always find it jarring when you see parents and parents view their children as their property and not so much as like, you know, their wards, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, and it typically happens more so when kids hit a teenager like age, you know, stuff like that, where all of a sudden, like all of a sudden, like these absolutes come into play, you know, from the parents, you know, like it's this or that, you know, it's you do this or you won't do or you won't have this, you know, things of that nature and stuff like that, and then, you know, like you wind up having like old ass people in retirement homes that their children don't give a fuck about coming to see them, you know. because they went a little too ham on it.
Yeah. But to kind of come full circle, you know how I joked with Corey about how I resent being like with the phrase like "don't tell mom." The reason why I joke is because, first of all, out of the two Nikolai's parents, me, the mother, and his father, I'm definitely the strict one. I am very strict. I'm the disciplinarian. I am no bullshit. You do your homework first thing you do when you get home. You work first, but then you can play. But the irony in that is he also knows my mom, Lao Lao, grandma, Chinese grandma. There are times I have done this. I said, Nikolai, don't tell Lao Lao. So instead of the don't tell mom, don't tell Lao Lao. Don't tell Lao Lao I took you to the park. Because I'm like, she's going to give me shit all day just because I took my children to the park instead of made them do homework all day. So like, it's just kind of funny that I'm actually, even as the disciplinarian, I'm like, don't tell my mom. Forget don't tell me. Don't tell my mom. So.
Oh boy, I love it. I love it.
Question, Stephanie, for you. Does and maybe this is just because my mom's crazy, but does your mom ever tell Nikolai things that you tell her not to tell him?
Yes.
Right now, like we're planning a trip to Disney in February, and we're not telling my kids, but every time my mom comes over, we tell her not to tell them that we're going, and that's all she talks about with them the whole time.
Well, that sucks.
I know.
Then what you do is act like your mom's not invited to Disney. I guarantee you she'll learn to shut her damn mouth.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say yes.
She's going with y'all, right? Your parents are going with y'all?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guarantee you act like they're disinvited, like she'll straighten up. There's the other thing too, like I got to worry about raising my mom real soon here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me,
I think I'm already doing that.
The shit my mom says that I tell her not to tell my son is maybe not necessarily very specific, but it's more like shit like you really shouldn't be saying, like how she trash talks his father to him, and I told her several times. I'm like, listen,
yeah,
he drives me nuts too. But you do not trash talk the father to a child. I don't care how much you hate him or not hate. You know, I'm just saying, for example, like, but she won't listen. And then she made him cry once by saying, well, if your father's always late to picking you up, then maybe you should always be with your mom and never see your dad. And then, of course, the kid's upset, being like, I'm never going to see my dad again. I'm like, no, that's not what she's saying. So.
Parents, am I right?
Yeah, they still think they know everything.
My dad just makes fun of my mom most of the time.
My dad wouldn't be alive if he made fun of my mom. So
it's so funny when my dad's like a very like low key, like easygoing guy that like doesn't talk a whole lot, but he's like the king of the one-liners, and then he just doesn't say anything else for like an hour.
That's
so
awesome.
Funny.
I can respect that.
It's so funny.
My dad and I can occasionally exchange looks or phrases, mostly with like sarcasm like language, because my mom doesn't get sarcasm. It like goes over her head. Sarcasm is again a very Western thing, if not an American thing.
Yeah. I mean, most languages don't even have like a sarcasm.
Yeah.
What and
like phrases,
dialect.
Yeah.
I love sarcasm.
Yeah, it's a good time.
So I don't know, just kind of round that out. You know, I went from hating children to be like finding it the utmost honor and privilege to raise my son. Absolutely, I'm honored to raise my son.
I still don't like other people's kids.
No, I don't either.
Hey, you can enjoy raising your own kid and still hate others.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Quick rant. Like my partner's kid, I don't think he'll ever listen to this podcast, so I think I'll be fine. He is such a spoiled little shit. Spoiled little shit. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And I just want to discipline him, but I can't because he's not my kid. Just the way they demand, the way he demands stuff, and the kid is always on his iPad, always on his fucking iPad. One time I got my son and him Pokemon cards, and because I'm a geek, I had a pack too. I let the kids pick the packs. I took the remaining packs. We all opened it. I got the shiny golden Charizard. The kid fucking flips out. He's upset. My son's like, yeah, whatever, I got Pokemon cards, yay. The kid's like, I didn't get anything. I didn't get any rare cards. Just has his utmost meltdown. I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting you fucking shit anymore. He's like, I want all your cards. I'm like, I hate you. I don't really hate him. I just, gosh, other children.
Wow, would have shook him like a fucking tree with a cat up it. Oh my god.
Hey, listen,
Yikes.
I could be your mother one day.
It's like, I don't want to be your mother. I want nothing to do with him.
Has anybody in here seen the movie Due Date?
No.
Yes, isn't that with yeah, and what is Seth Rogen in there?
Yeah, remember when he punched the kid? it was the most shocking thing, and like once the shock subsided, like you just cracked up laughing.
Jeez.
Yeah, he warned the kid. Oh, he's like, you do that damn thing again, I'm gonna punch you. The kid did it. He socked him. He socked him right in his stomach. And when the kid went to crumple, he'd already picked him back up and set him down in the chair.
Funny movie, man. It's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah, I remember that.
Man! Oh my God! How do we talk about child abuse? Oh my God!
Yeah, sorry. No, but just a disclaimer. Like, I joke, like I've never struck a kid. Just so people know, like I'm a disciplinarian, but I don't believe.
Not struck a kid in malice, at least.
No, I'll
Never
admit.
struck a kid, and no anyone ever found out.
Actually, one more thing though. It reminded me, LeRon. You mentioned. Oh crap. Oh my gosh! It was. Then I got distracted by Due Date. What are the various things we talked about with kids? Not wanting to raise kids in this shitty world. That's kind of another one of the reasons why I didn't want to have kids. I'm like, why? Ew, like
you'd already seen how the world was going. Yeah.
But I guess I do get sad from time to time. I think like, oh man, what's the planet going to be like in like 30 years? But I just tell myself, you know what? First of all, like I'm trying to do my best to make this world a better place, even though tiny, humble me won't make a dent in it. But I'm like, you know what? Anyone could technically say that at any period. I'm sure my parents in that era had their shit to worry about. Various wars, various things. I know it's not getting any better, but I'm like, I can only do my best to make the world as best as it can for him. And like I said, I can only give him the tools for him to survive the kind of world that he's growing up in. And maybe that genius little math science brain of his, he can make a difference in the world. Probably not. Maybe it's idealistic, but that's, hey, you know what? I hate to say it, a bunch of people that are having kids that shouldn't be having kids. Some of us need to pop out some good ones. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like it's funny. It's funny how I said this before. Like the movie Starship Troopers ever happened. I know it was a book before it was a movie, but I feel like like they kind of had it right. Like like you have to become a citizen before you can have children. There needs to be a test. Or something like that. And I know I say this, and there's a chance that whatever test they put out, I might not pass that motherfucker. But you know what? If I don't pass that motherfucker, and I feel like people like we need this, then that means that the system works. Like, damn, I got a 69 on the test. Fuck, I failed. Can't have kids.
Or did you?
Never gonna happen. They're the future taxpayers.
Yeah. The future taxpayers and the future workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like
not if AI takes over.
Honestly, people are just a commodity. Like, look at the whole situation right now of all these companies trying to force people to go to work. to actually as a tactic to enlist layoffs.
Wow.
I think they said just recently in the news that in about 10 years' time, we'll have the ability to have people live to and work to 120.
Nope. Nah. I refuse.
Why will we?
I can't wait to upload my brain to a cloud somewhere and just be siphoned into another body.
The Matrix.
Yep.
No, I don't want any of that soma action. I'm good.
So
Anyway, children, they're just little bundles of joy. They're our future. No, they're great until they're teenagers. Then that's the shitty part. That's the
What are you
shitty
talking
part.
about? You don't even have a teenager yet.
No, and I warn my child every day. I fake cry and say, someday you're going to hate me and never want to hang out with me. So my son now has this idea in his head that teenagers are terrible people.
some of them are.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
As a parent, I don't want to be my kid's best friend, but I do want to be the person that no matter what, my kid can trust me.
Oh yeah.
To be able to do anything, say anything, stuff like that. There's a lot of things I think. I know this topic's running long. There's a lot of things I'll probably allow my kids to curse as long as they understand the how those words are supposed to be put to use and stuff like that. Yeah, I understand. That 4-letter word that we love to say a lot. Yeah, it can be a noun, a verb, and an adjective all at the same time. And stuff like that.
It's versatile.
Yeah, exactly. And once you learn the context of it, it can be the most powerful word in the world. But you gotta learn when and how to employ it and stuff like that.
In the words of SpongeBob, they are sentence enhancers.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one thing. Now I'm not saying like my children is going to every other word that comes out their mouth is going to be an expletive or nothing like that. But they will understand how to harness and use the word. To a point where me and my spouse will not have to be all up in arms. About it and stuff like that. My mom has a heart attack about it. I think that's going to be pretty hilarious. Because my mom's an old Southern Baptist black woman from the South, so yeah. So that's going to be hilarious because I am just now getting comfortable to the point where I can curse around my mom.
Aww.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of my outlook on parenting and stuff like that. Yeah, I do want kids and stuff like that. I'm still not trying to rush it, even though technically, a selfish part of me is thinking, let's just have a kid so my mom shuts the hell up. Because
I know I feel bad that you get that pressure because as much as she has every right to feel that way, I feel like not you, LeRon, you meaning just speaking generally about people, is people should not have kids for any other reason other than wanting to have kids on their own, because other than that, I just think it's a bad idea.
Yeah. Just bending the knee because somebody else says is always not a good thing, and that includes getting married,
Yes.
like men and women both, they don't have to get married on someone else's time, and things like that. I've always found it weird. I'm one of those modern feminists and stuff like that. I always find it weird when someone turns around and says oh, this woman's 32 years old and she's not married yet. She's worthless, shit like that. I'm like, who said 32 is the litmus for when you should be married? Who says that?
Yep.
I understand we come from a society.
Single, you're a menace to society.
I understand we come from a society where, at one point, children were betrothed when they were 6 years old and were married by 13 and 14 and shit, or in marriage of transactional things, oh, I like your daughter. Here's a cow and two plots of land. I want to marry her. Why are we making people, particularly women, a commodity? And same thing applies for men, because sometimes men are married off because of status and prosperity for the family and stuff like that. And why is it like that? Why is it like that? I don't get it. Like shit. Like, I feel like the sanctity of marriage is like, do two people love each other? Do they want to spend the rest of their lives with each other? There you go. It doesn't have to be for status. It doesn't have to be for power. It doesn't have to be, because like, oh, she has nice hips and I want 5 children from her, bullshit like that. Or he
could be fake.
He owns Tesla. Like I will give him children, bullshit like that. No.
I mean, unless that's what both parties want, right? Which I hate
both parties want that. Yeah, that's all good and stuff like that. But
I might not agree with it, but yeah, it's got to be both people want that.
When society puts the norms on it, though, like that's fucking weird.
No, it is.
Like I got people who ask me that tell me right now, oh, you're 48 years old and you don't have any kids? Like, wow, like what are you doing?
It's more like, hey, that's none of your fucking business. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me, so when's your second kid coming? I'm like, excuse me. He's like, you can't let him be an only child. That's terrible. I'm like, fuck you. I'm an only child.
Yeah, why are you putting your thoughts and feelings on how my family?
Yeah, everyone's got an opinion about that.
Speaking of Corey, when's baby number 3 coming?
Fuck that.
TikTok, motherfucker.
When my wife sleeps with another man, I guess.
Oh. On that note, that's going to do it for this edition of Boss Rush After Dark. Before Corey winds up getting a divorce next week.
Hey, look, I said I was going to make it 5 years. It's been 7 and some change, so I already passed my goal.
Isn't like 7? It's a 7-year itch, they call it.
7-year itch. Yeah, 7-year itch. That's when people want to step out.
Mm-hmm. Lately, it's been like a 3 to 5 year itch.
Look, I have zero interest in dating again. It's too hard.
Right?
It's terrible.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm trying to make this one stick. Like God, like after my last breakup, like it was traumatizing trying to get back into dating.
Yeah, I just decided if my wife leaves me, I'm living alone for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a hoe.
Yeah, well, let's see what this Tinder all these kids are talking about.
Okay, I'm a little too old for Tinder. Tinder's some nonsense.
And potential murderers, psychopaths, don't do it.
I know.
Did y'all see my tweet a few weeks ago where I was like Jeffrey Dahmer got all those dudes to go home with him, and why are you still single?
Oh,
because he offered beer to your kids.
All right, I want to
get out of here before we say anything. That's really stupid.
Miles away from where Jeffrey Dahmer did. Actually, I live like a mile away from his grandparents.
Wait, where's all Jeffrey Dahmer's victims?
Huh? Milwaukee.
Okay, yeah, that's right. All right. We want to thank everyone that took the time to either check us out on YouTube or listen to us on audio feeds. This has been Boss Rush After Dark.
Yeah, aren't you guys glad we're back every week now?
Yeah. Right.
God. Now we have to keep this pedigree up. Oh my God.
Good topics tonight. Good topics tonight.
This has been fun. Just remember, check out the show notes, whether you're listening to us on the podcast or whether you're checking us out on YouTube. You see all the information for how to get in contact with us, stay in contact with us, and everything about the show, as well as like if you want to become a patron.
2 weeks early on Patreon. Reminder.
Thank you. We'll be back for another episode of Boss Rush After Dark, as well as the Boss Rush podcast, which are in 2 separate feeds. So just remember that. On behalf of my co-host tonight, I want to thank you. We love you, and always remember that this is the show that we talk about the stuff that's not always content friendly for all the other anchor shows on the network. So,
and another friendly reminder: don't raise your children to be little fucking peckerheads, because nobody will like them.
Jesus Christ!
If you're not ready, you keep that tool wrapped.
Don't be a fool. Wrap your.
What'd you say? No. Oh, okay. I thought Corey's gonna say the other one. Don't be a dummy.
Come on her tummy.
All right, everyone. Good night. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushMedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Deering, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.